Hi, I'm Carl Azuz for CNN 10. What remains of Hurricane Irma has moved inland. Last night, the storm had howled through Georgia toward Alabama and Tennessee and was expected to clip several other southern states. But its greatest toll on the U.S. was in Florida, where it made landfall. Last night, an estimated 65% of the state was without power, and the White House said some places wouldn't get it back for weeks. The Keys, an island chain off Florida's southern tip, took a direct hit. An official there said there was no cell service, no electricity, no running water. Satellite phones and landlines were being used to communicate. Some streets in Miami were underwater. The city's airport closed because of water damage. And while the Gulf Coast city of Tampa was not damaged as badly as many expected, and there wasn't much storm surge, the Atlantic coast city of Jacksonville saw a record storm surge. The rise in sea levels blown ashore. There was immense flooding there that officials expected to get worse. Storm surge warnings remained in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And as the U.S. gets its first look at Irma's effects, parts of Cuba are grappling with severe damage. Irma killed 10 people there and at least 36 total throughout the Caribbean. Cuba and some other islands weathered Irma as a Category 5 storm. 10-second trivia. When it opened in 1943, which of these locations became the world's largest office building? The Pentagon, the Empire State Building, the Burj Khalifa, or the Venetian Las Vegas? Of these options, only the Pentagon opened in 1943, and it remains one of the biggest office buildings worldwide. On the 16th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, U.S. President Donald Trump visited the Pentagon. It's the site where 184 people were killed when terrorists crashed American Airlines Flight 77 into the building. Speaking of both the attacks and the hurricanes that hit the U.S. within the past month, the president said, "When Americans are in need, Americans pull together, and we are one country." He also paid tribute to the police officers and firefighters who gave their lives trying to save other victims of September 11th.
All of them love this country and pledged their very lives to protect it. That September morning, each of those brave Americans died as they had lived, as heroes, doing their duty and protecting us and our country. We mourn them, we honor them, and we pledge to never, ever forget them.
I want to be surrounded by the same group of guys that are like my dad.
He was my hero before he died. He was my hero because of the man he was. It's a blessing to be one of 10.
You just have 9 other people
who went through what you went through.
So crazy to be back here, huh?
Right? 2006 we moved out?
Yeah, we grew up in this house, huh?
Yeah.
There's so many memories.
Yeah. Playing hockey in the driveway and
fighting in the driveway.
I remember I chased you around the block with the hockey stick.
Yeah, yeah. This is where, it's September 11th we were here, We were at this house. It's crazy to think 15 years ago, all that was going on, right? It feels like it was just yesterday.
It was like the same, every day, but at the same time it was like, you felt the difference.
You knew there was something weird going on that at 12 years old I wasn't able to comprehend.
Growing up with my dad, he was always there for us. He was always with us.
One thing that really drove him, I think, more than anything was his faith. He felt blessed, definitely, to have so many kids.
Joey's the 3rd, I'm the 5th.
Of course it's hard, how could God allow this? How could we go without a father? But I think, with the faith of my mom, if anything, it strengthened it, right?
Yeah. My mom was all more concerned about, am I loving you enough? Are you feeling loved?
My mom did an amazing job considering the circumstances, but she battled with colon cancer for 4 years, and she passed away in 2013.
There he is. That's him right there, right?
Probationary firefighter Thomas Palumbo.
That's awesome.
Thanks for making me work so hard.
No, I love you. I'm proud of you, definitely.
Thank you. I always appreciated what he did, but now that I'm actually doing it, I appreciate how hard it is, The The first day I worked here, I was, thought about him and thought about, what his first day was like. I try my best to work as hard as I can. I know he always said, just do your best no matter what it is. My badge number is on my helmet, 10871. That was my dad's badge number throughout his career. It means a lot to be able to carry on that same badge.
Part of me, died that day, I think, too. It's like all the security that you have and all that, it's like it was pulled out from under me.
In the back of my head, there's a risk, that something can happen. I can't really be afraid to take the train or, to work in a skyscraper. Like, I can't really let that hold me back from living my life.
How cool is this picture? Do you think that's Dad's Profi picture?
Yeah, probably.
Most of us live here still. Who's this?
That's Dad.
After my mom died, it wasn't really a question to move out or anything. It made the most sense to stay together and be there for each other. It's what our parents would have wanted.
How old is Dad in this picture? You think he's younger or older than us?
We're all raising each other. Like, they would definitely be laughing. Like, they'd be like,
yeah.
They'd be laughing like, oh my God, like, look at them trying to do everything by themselves.
I think in one hand, our parents would probably be somewhat shocked. I think they also had, faith that we would all be okay.
We couldn't do any of this on our own. Clearly, they're watching over us in heaven.
The vast majority of cars worldwide are powered by gasoline or diesel fuel. But the Chinese government is considering a ban on the production and sales of these vehicles to encourage sales of electric or electrified cars instead. China struggles with air pollution. Part of the reason is because cities like Beijing are surrounded by mountains which can trap the haze. So Chinese leaders are thinking that if they ban cars that are powered only by gas, it'll help reduce the pollution. They haven't set a date on when this might happen, and electric and hybrid sales there, like in the U.S., make up only around 1% of all car sales in the country. So even if the government subsidizes or pays part of the price of electric or electrified car production, the change could be difficult and take decades.
Automakers are making big commitments to electrified cars. That probably just means electric cars, right? No. Electrified and electric mean two different things, very different things. An electrified car is simply one that has some kind of electric motor, but it could also have a traditional gasoline engine too. Let me draw it out for you. This big circle is electrified vehicles. This smaller circle is electric vehicles. For electric cars, think Tesla or the Nissan Leaf. These vehicles run on electricity and nothing else. But there are others in that big circle too. There are plug-in hybrids, for instance, like the Chevy Volt or the Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivan. These vehicles plug in and can run on pure electricity for some distance, then switch over to a gasoline engine. There are also regular hybrids, like the common Toyota Prius. These vehicles have electric motors and batteries, but they never get plugged in. They're very fuel efficient and can even run on pure electricity for short distances, but all that power is ultimately generated by the car's own internal combustion engine. And finally, there are so-called mild hybrids. Right now, there aren't many of these on the market. Mild hybrids can't drive on electricity alone, even at low speeds, but they can shut down their gasoline engines when the car is stopped, or even when it's coasting. So when car companies like Volvo, or even entire countries talk about selling electrified vehicles, they're really talking about all this stuff. Don't think they're going all electric, they're probably not.
The folks running a recent charity auction for a new Ferrari expected the supercar to go for around $5 million. It went for twice that. And here's the kicker. The car, which will look like this, hasn't even been built yet. The winning bidder dropped $10 million after seeing only a picture of it. The record price for a 21st century vehicle will be donated to an international youth charity. The LaFerrari Aperta will be one of only 210 ever made. So you can see why someone might have been driven to buy it. But he or she wasn't horsing around. When the bids came in fast and furious, someone was on a transmission to leave a fortune in the rear view for a car they could only picture. CNN 10 has crossed the finish line. I'm Carl Azuz, and we hope you can watch again tomorrow.